Uh, we had a little Christmas break. We put in our PTO and we did not stream. We had a little time off. How was your Christmas, Kyle?
It was great. Got to spend time with family. Got to spend some fun in the sun out here in the Caribbean, and just got a very well deserved break away from work, away from the podcast. But don't worry, we're still following sports the whole time because a
A lot
break
going
also
on.
means more time to watch the beautiful games.
The Caribbean, man. You're a little Caribbean boy, huh?
Yep. And what about you? What did you do?
Not much. Just hung out, friends and family. Had a good time. Got some cool presents.
What'd you get?
Santa gave me a lump of coal.
Uh,
But everybody else, just like some gift cards and stuff, and just some good essentials to live. I feel like maybe we're in a generation of like being little depression kids, not like actual depression, but like find it like recession depression. You know what I mean? Like in the 20s, the depression, that type of stuff. Because a lot of the people I know are asking for like essentials to live. It's like like gift cards to get groceries and stuff. It's kind of funny. It's like
yeah.
I wish I was asking for like Pokemon Leaf Green and stuff. That's the kind of Christmas I want. But nevertheless, I also got a plant. My first plant, and
What is it?
I don't know. It's hold on. It's some kind of fur. I don't really know what it is, but it's some sort of fur, and it's in this cool little like minimal vase. Like I don't know. It like definitely looks like my kind of aesthetic. I got it on Christmas or like a couple days after Christmas, but like it's already starting to die. So I don't know what I did to it. It says like it needs medium to like bright indirect sunlight. I think maybe I put it too far away from the window because I misinterpreted the term indirect. I put water in it. I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But it's not looking too bright for my little plant right now.
Yeah, I have an orchid that I left for about a week and a half, and I don't think that's going to live.
Rip. Can they come back to life? Like if you water it enough and put it in sunlight and fertilize it and stuff?
I don't know that much about orchids. It was more of a girlfriend. I was in trouble gift.
Wait, what? Like she got it for you because you were in trouble?
I got it. I bought it because I was in trouble.
Nice. That's the way to a girl's hearts these days, I guess. Some orchids and some plants. Oh man. But yeah, other than that, just asking for like, like I said, like little recession generation asking for grocery gift cards and like pillows and mattress pads and like kitchen stuff, just stuff I need to live. Eventually I'll be asking for that Pokemon Leaf Green though, and come Christmas Day we'll have a fun time.
It was always nice to get a thoughtful, like unique gift, but at the end of the day, like there's no better gift than what you're actually going to use.
So. Yeah, that's true. It's like getting socks. I guess now I'm appreciative for it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got some also. We have New Year's around the corner. You got any plans for that? You gonna pop some fireworks?
Yeah,
you pop fireworks in the Caribbean? How does that work?
Yeah, they do. On the beach. Okay. And it's going to be pretty awesome. We're going out to this bar that we like, and they're going to have a big DJ party, whatever.
Nice. I'm just going to try to stay awake up to midnight. That's my goal this year. I'm an old soul these days. I'm an old soul. But anyway, speaking of New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, let's get into it. We have some action going on in college football. And this may be more of a therapy session for Kyle and I, because we're going to be talking about NIL and the transfer portal and just how much college football has just degraded. The most sacred thing in this entire country, college football is just in an absolute, it's a dumpster fire right now, isn't it? Or is that just me?
It is. The NIL, as we've mentioned many times on this show, has made the college football landscape into, or college sports in general, into like a frenzy of who can just get the most money and make the best business decision for themselves, which makes sense for a lot of people if they don't have a career in the future outside of college sports. But for a lot of these guys that are top tier athletes that are planning on going pro, have a bright future in that realm, I feel like it's not as much of a need as much as they're just being kind of greedy with it, which I would take money like that any day of the week. But it's kind of ruined loyalty to teams in a lot of respects. Like, for example, like we have a backup QB, Arch Manning, who gets a lot of hype because of being, part of the Manning family with that last name. And even just the other day, he was swarmed in like a press conference about the Washington game, where Quinn Ewers is the starter and he got no love. They all just swarmed Arch Manning when he's probably not even going to play unless Ewers gets an injury. So it's like super weird that way. And he's making more money than Brock Purdy currently.
That's
from
insane.
The NFL. So,
oh my God, I did not know that.
Yeah, so it's I forgot the exact figures that they had mentioned in the graphic I saw, but he's making a substantially more money than Brock Purdy.
How old
as
is
a backup quarterback in college? Archman,
what is he, like 18, 19?
18, 19? Yeah.
What is he going to do with all that? He probably lives in a dorm and he doesn't even he's like a millionaire in a dorm. How weird is that?
Probably just hopefully he uses it smartly, because
at 18, 19, you think he's going to use it smart? Do you think he's going to be smart about it?
Probably not, but maybe people around him can influence him to a good direction. But
yeah. I mean, like the whole, okay, well, one thing too, like we can talk about is like not just the NIL, but all the realignment and like everything going on with the college football playoffs, which is pretty much what everything revolves around, right? Like in college football, it's like everybody obviously wants to make it to the playoffs, and you have 4 spots for 133 teams.
Right.
Like who decided that? Like I get that it's hard to come up with like some sort of tournament and like playoffs for 133 teams from all over the country, but like four people make it in, 4 teams make it in. Are you see like March Madness, at least, you have 64 teams. Like what were people arguing about the 65th and 66th teams? And my thing, like Kirby Smart talked about it too after the game, after FSU got absolutely schwacked by Georgia. He was like it's really not FSU. Like that's not the FSU that everybody saw throughout the season. He admitted that. He was like, this was stupid. This was a waste of everybody's time, basically.
They were severely deprived of a lot of guys that were key for them, especially with the quarterback injuries, with the transfers out. And it really
you want to take a guess? You want to take a guess at how many people they had out, like on scholarship?
I would say like 25.
That was pretty darn close. They had 29 players opt out, and they were all on scholarship. They had like 2 starting linebackers, 2 of their obviously top 2 quarterbacks, like their top 2 running backs, 3 of their offensive linemen. Like it's insane. Like that was like the Walmart version of FSU, but
yeah, and that's how like it seems like bowl season has been for the past couple of years now.
Because like, what's the point? Like, why am I playing this game?
You have this game that used to be super uber important for a lot of these teams, and then now with all these transfers out because people want to go chase a bag somewhere else or chase more playing time somewhere else. Now you're just getting a B team version of a lot of these teams, and you don't want to watch that. It doesn't really mean much. Of course, bowl wins mean something arbitrarily, but in reality, watching the games just doesn't really, there's no excitement in watching a lot of these bowl games.
No, I think I really don't know what the real value of a bowl game is. I'm not new to college football, but I admittedly have not watched it nearly as much as I have in like the past 3 or 4 years, just because
Right.
of UTSA's like rise in the ranks. Now I'm like obsessed with college football, and even just like in the last 4 years since I've like started heavily paying attention to it, like you can just see such a regression in the way it just the whole like ecosystem around college football. Because like,
Yeah.
um,
I mean,
I
bowl games
think
used to be the only thing that mattered outside of the
right.
BCS national championship, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah,
like,
and I think like a couple of the big things for bowl games is that like one, I can see two big value propositions. One, you have a chance to play teams that you would never play during the regular season.
right,
So you could, get into a new market, expose your, university, your brand, whatever. And the second is that it's exactly that. You get to expose your brand on like national TV, because a lot of these games are televised on like ABC or ESPN or whatever.
yeah,
So it gives a lot of the teams that don't normally have that exposure like a huge amount of marketing value. Other than that, I do see where FSU came from though, because it's like I won 13 games this season. I did everything you put in front of me. Clearly, the games don't matter. Why would I play another college football game that doesn't matter? You just proved it to me that it doesn't matter. Why would I risk injury if I'm going to the NFL?
yeah. So it's all just a big shit show now. We'll see how expanding the playoffs will kind of like I don't know, change things for the atmosphere and for people competing, like teams competing. But as of right now, it's on the decline as far as excitement towards the end of the season goes.
Yeah, it is. It's like, I mean, bowl games just don't really matter, unfortunately. And
Yeah,
my proposition is, well, one of the things too we saw on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, was that somebody came out with like, did you see that tier thing? Somebody said it in our group chat. It was kind of like almost how soccer does their thing with like the Champions
yeah,
League and all that.
yeah,
You have basically like 4 or 5 regions around the country split up: Central, East, West Coast, Midwest, whatever. And within those regions, you have 3 different tiers of like teams, and they could be like, there's no existence of G5 or P5 or SEC or whatever. The bottom 2 out of each tier every season will like move down a tier, and you're in the lower tier just based on your performance.
yeah.
Now
You get
that gives like a JMU the opportunity to like move up to tier 1 and like prove their value. That also gives the teams like A&M, who like, has a fan base that thinks like they're the greatest thing in
yeah,
college football, to prove
yeah,
their value. Line up against JMU, line up against somebody. Let's see if you really are the value that you say you are.
yeah. I could see
I think
that
that would be a
being
cool
a
thing
thing.
too.
I think there's a way to experiment with relegation and promotion in like a variety of different ways. I've even like thought about like promoting and relegating between like D1 worst teams go down to D2. Like that would
Yeah,
be kind of
that
crazy. Like it would
that would
put
be
so
crazy.
much high stakes on like actually having a solid season, like not.
Yeah. And that's the way it should be. It's like teams should care about every single game, and you should be playing for something every single game. Um, the other thing too is that, like, with all, like, I mean, I think at this point the NCAA just probably needs like an Avengers like Nexus like moment that like just completely obliterates like the whole NCAA like multiverse. You know what I mean? Like, you just
Yeah,
need to start over. The whole G5 P5 thing is stupid. It is beyond stupid. The fact that 4 teams get in, there's going to be 12 teams next year. Fine. Um, yeah, the NIL is absurd. I feel like that is probably the most pressing thing. When you open up a transfer portal window and immediately fills up with 3,000 kids in the transfer portal, something's broken. When you have a backup quarterback in college making more than a starter in the NFL for the number 1 seed in the NFC team, that's broken.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's just like,
speaking a little bit about the transfer portal, and we'll cover this a lot more in depth when it comes to. We have a guest episode next week with Darian Starling
nice.
coming on, former UTSA player. I believe we're shooting for maybe a couple weeks from now, talking about off season for UTSA. But our transfers out they've hurt.
Yeah.
We've had several key players transfer out. One of them being Trey Moore. Obviously, he's now committed to Texas, which I don't want to say anything mean about it, but I have a lot of things to say about it.
We're
And
gonna lose all of our UT listeners.
he was the first team. Well, he was actually the defensive player of the year in the AAC. And then we had him lost for the bowl game. Then we had Cam Alexander step up in the bowl game, winning defensive MVP for the bowl game. He's transferring out now. We also have a couple of like 3-star guys who have been like some of our highest rated prospects of all time program history coming out of high school. Maybe, and one of them, an offensive tackle, hasn't even played for us this season. He was injured the whole season. He's transferring out now for whatever reason. Hasn't played a single minute for UTSA. So we're seeing it here with like these talented people with more depth coming in. Maybe they don't want to compete for a spot, but also at the same time, them having to get poached by from like other teams because of this all. Like they have deeper pockets business. You hate to see it.
It's not even like that they have deeper pockets. It's like, who do you need more right now? It's just about being in at the opportune time. If Malik Murphy comes up to the transfer portal and all of a sudden Duke is a football school now and they need a quarterback, you're just going to throw money at him because you need him a lot more than another school might. Right. So another thing I was thinking, okay, I've heard the argument against like a 64 like March Madness like team for college football, just because it's like, you'd fill up like 7 weeks basically of like just tournaments, right? Of tournament games.
Yeah,
but
and a football games being played back to back for different teams, that would be so like risky injury.
It would. But the thing is, it's like, if you think about the way college football is right now with the playoffs, every single game is a tournament game. Like every single game throughout the season, you're already playing. Like if you lose, you're probably not making it into the playoffs. So it's like win or go home, basically. Already, like it's already set up like a tournament. It's just not called that, and it's not. You're not matching up against people outside of your conference. It's I think if you just like labeled it as like the last 7 weeks are the tournament, like nothing, like it wouldn't be a bad thing because you're already basically playing like it is a tournament. I mean, UT lost one game and there was talks that they weren't going to get in. And that was against OU in week, I don't know, 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah.
Every game has a huge impact. So it's like, it is a tournament basically. But yeah, I would be surprised if NIL is not changed. I'd be surprised if all of so we've already seen it with the Pac-12 going to the Pac-2. We're maybe at a nexus point, a watershed moment with the ACC. We'll see what happens with FSU. I don't think anybody should use the argument of this Georgia game and FSU against them at all. They were in a lose-lose situation.
Yeah.
They had 30 guys opt out. Like, come on. Right. You proved to them that their games didn't matter. They won 13 and they didn't make it in the playoffs. Their games don't matter. So they opted out. I don't blame them for that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I will be excited to see where college football is like 3 years from now. If there's still the SEC, Big Ten, I'd be kind of surprised if those conferences are still a thing. Maybe not 3 years, maybe 5 years. But yeah. Any other ranting? Any other therapy we want? Get it all out there now while we can.
No, I think we're set to move on to the NFL. Big deal in the NFL. The Ravens just beating the 49ers in a pretty handed victory. Lamar Jackson is now the MVP favorite of the league. Dak had his 5 seconds of fame for a little bit.
Yeah, he did.
When
Lamar Jackson's balling.
Lamar Jackson has been going beast mode, and the Ravens have looked just so good as a team. Their defense made Brock Purdy extremely uncomfortable, forcing 4 interceptions. and also Lamar Jackson just looking incredibly poised. Just the way that they're able to run their offense with him, like number one, it just looks like clockwork. The way that he's able to get the snap, get the ball out super quickly, and even if he doesn't have something, his escapability from the pocket and not just going off, breaking away for a run, which he can do on any given play, but he can escape the pocket, go all the way down to the sideline, and make an extended play from pass just as easily now, which is
Mm-hmm.
what he was lacking in and like what his weakness was in previous seasons. So we are seeing a Lamar Jackson that is able to do things on offense that we have never seen before. Other
Okay,
than
but like
he was just a runner or
Christian
a
McCaffrey, I mean, he's still in it, dude. I don't know. Lamar Jackson or Christian McCaffrey? Who would you pick?
Lamar Jackson at this point, just because of like the head-to-head matchup there.
Yeah,
The
true.
Ravens came out on top.
They got smacked. Yeah, they didn't look too good. 49ers got absolutely smacked against the Ravens. Yeah, he made a good case. People who were saying Brock Purdy, I didn't see it, man. Like throughout the
No,
whole season, I don't think he ever should have been in the running. It should have
I
been
don't
either
think
Christian
anybody took
McCaffrey.
that seriously. I think it was just
No.
like one of those bottom ones, just to.
Yeah. But what you said on the last episode was kind of right. It's that like the MVP is basically a quarterback, or maybe you said that about the Heisman. I don't know. I don't remember which one, but the MVP is definitely a quarterback award.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, do you think the Ravens are going to win it all?
I think that I would bet my money that they would win it all. Obviously, there's anything can happen when it comes to the playoff scenario, but the other kind of options that I had, the Dolphins, they're an interesting team, but they're kind of dealing with a little bit of injury concerns. We'll see how that shores up come playoff time. The 49ers obviously were in the conversation, and they just showed that they were a worse team than the Ravens, at least for that game. And then the Cowboys, segueing into the Cowboys conversation, they didn't look incredibly strong against the Lions, even though they came out with the win last night.
Dang, dude, we got some juicy content there. Oh my god. Also, Dan Campbell, dude, that's one of the guys. That's one of the coaches I would never say anything mean in front of because he would absolutely beat the crap out of me. Him and Mike Vrabel are probably the two scariest coaches in the league.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm not talking directly to his face, so I can say it here. I'll be a little keyboard crusader. Dude, Dan Campbell is probably like the most aggressive play caller I have ever seen.
That was to try and go for it.
So let's set it up though, because maybe some people didn't watch it. But this didn't start at the end of the game. It started in what, like the second quarter? Maybe their fourth or fifth drive. People forget they went for it on like 4th and 6 or something. I'll look it up, but they could have kicked a field goal and it would have been 6-7. They decided to go for it on 4th down, and it wasn't like 4th and 1. It was, I'm pretty sure it was like 4th and 5. It was a stretch. Let's see here. So they had 11 plays, a 76-yard drive, 11 plays, 4 minutes and 59 seconds. They went for it on 4th and 4. Jared Goff lined up in the shotgun on 4th and 4.
What was
they really went for it.
Yard line that they're at?
They were at the Dallas 4. They were down 7-3, and he went for it. Okay, so that was mistake. I don't know if it's a mistake. You're a genius if you get it. You're an idiot if you don't, right? But that was I'll say aggressive. That was the first aggressive play. They went for it on 4th and 4, and they didn't get it. Okay. Now let's fast forward to the last sequence, the last drive, which Waterboy's game ball goes to Sam Laporta, who is my starting tight end in the championship game for my fantasy football week. He had like 2 catches throughout the whole game and then just absolutely turned it on in the last minute 45 seconds. Absolute baller. Greatest probably rookie tight end ever. I'm going to put it out there. Anyway, they drove down the field. Sam Laporta got like 70, probably did like 70 yards worth of that drive. Like, it was just over the middle. The Cowboys were keeping everything in front of him, right? Like, they were just throwing it down the middle, Jared Goff would get up, run up to the ball, and spike the ball, and they just rinse and repeat. Eventually, they got down to the, what was it? Maybe like the 15, the Dallas 15, or Dallas 11. Okay, so they were at the Dallas 11 on 2nd and 10, 23 seconds left. They score. Amon-Ra St. Brown scored 11-yard touchdown. And then all chaos ensues. So we have to get this right because this is very controversial right now.
Yeah.
The second point. So the score is 20-19 with about 23 seconds left. Detroit just scored. They're down by 1. If you're wondering, yes, they could have kicked the extra point. You're absolutely right. They could have kicked the extra point and just tied the game, go into overtime, and settle it in overtime. Dan Campbell, again, remember, he went for it on 4th and 4 earlier in the game. He's an aggressive play caller. Scary-ass coach. I would not want to be yelled at by him. He says, we're going to go for the 2-point conversion, right? They try it first attempt. They score on the first attempt, okay? But this is where all the controversy happens. Number 68, an offensive lineman, was supposed to go to the official and say, hey, I'm an eligible receiver. He's the guy who actually scored and caught the pass. Number 68, he's an offensive lineman. If you have a lineman lineup, he's supposed to go to the ref and say, I am an eligible receiver. Tell somebody. They also had a guy, number 70. I need to look up there. I mean, it was Decker and what was the other guy?
I think it was so the first one was number 68. I think that was Taylor Hendrick, I want to say.
I can look it up. Anyway, number 70, and there's video of this. He runs up to the official. We don't really know what he's saying, but the official, announces it to the entire crowd. Number 70 is the eligible receiver. For some reason, we'll never know what was said in that little huddle between number 68, number 70, and the official. But he said number 70 is the eligible receiver, not number 68. Number 68 is the guy who scored. So they line up at the line of scrimmage. They're getting ready to do this play. They do it. Jared Goff throws it to number 68. They convert it. 2 points. Flag on the play, a super late flag. The officials are talking in the middle. They deem it to be a illegal touch, right? Or something. Number 68 caught the ball. He wasn't eligible. It was a penalty, 5-yard penalty. You redo the play. That was the controversy. You could be thinking, you're on 4th and 7, Dan Campbell, why not kick the ball? Are you really going to go for it on at the 7-yard line, basically? Well, he did. So he went for it on the 2-point conversion. Micah Parsons gets drawn offside, so it's a free play. Jared Goff throws it in the middle, almost intercepted, but it didn't matter. Redo because Micah Parsons was offside. You move back to the 2-ish, 3, 4, somewhere around their yard line. You have to score. It's a 2-point conversion. Anyway, Jared Goff throws it to a receiver running an out route. He drops it. Game over. Cowboys win 20-19. Yeah. All hell broke loose after the game because of what happened. There was other footage that came out that showed number 68 actually going up to the refs. Jared Goff told number 68 to go to the ref and say, I am an eligible receiver. For some reason, number 70 basically came running from the sidelines. He was like an extra lineman on that play, and he sprinted towards the official. And the official, it looked like he looked at him and anyway, said number 70 was eligible. I don't know. What do you think about that? Did they get it right or did they get it wrong? I know what the internet's saying, but dang.
The footage shows that he clearly reported. Maybe there was some confusion between the official and what he heard or who he thought he heard it from. But I think that the right call would have been that he was eligible. Number 68, Taylor Decker. And I think that would have been the right call. But then at the same time, at that point, once you've already had all this controversy go down, and obviously, we talk about how this is an aggressive coach from coaching, show from Dan Campbell. But at that point, kick the PAT because
you're at the 7.
You've done it. Yeah, you did it. Like the chances of doing it again, because I feel like there's the analytics usually are more or less that going for it on 4th down or going for it on 2-point conversion, whatever it might be, is relatively like a 50-50 chance. If you've already done it, the analytics probably say that don't do it again.
Right.
And so, and that's obviously I'm not an NFL.
He had 3 chances. He had 3 chances.
3rd time's the charm. On your 3rd chance, just go for the safe play, tie it up, go to overtime, trust your team.
Yeah, I agree. And we actually have the, I guess, transcript of the post-game interview with the official, Brad Allen, who, mind you, is the same officiating crew that had that no call between the Packers and the Chiefs, where the Packers defender clearly had like a just aggressive, I don't know, just blatant pass interference, which was a no call, which is a huge controversial thing that happened several weeks ago. So the question for Brad Allen in this interview is, why was there a penalty called on the 2-point conversion for an illegal touch? Allen said, so we had a situation where if you were going to have an ineligible number occupy an eligible position, you have to report that to the referee. On this particular play, number 70, who had reported during the game a couple of times, reported to me as eligible. Then he lined up at the tackle position. So actually, he didn't have to report at all. Number 68, who ended up going downfield and touching the pass, did not report. Therefore, he is an ineligible touching a pass that goes beyond the line, which makes it a foul. So the issue is number 70 did report, number 68 did not. Follow-up question is that there was a player that went to you just before the play. It was Decker, and he was talking to you. 2 linemen talking to you, and then you went to the Cowboys defensive line to speak to them. What was the conversation about? That conversation is where number 70 reports to me, and then I go to the defensive team and I say, number 70 has reported as an eligible receiver. So they will be aware of who has reported, and then I return to my position. That was the conversation with the defensive line. And then the last question, the last follow-up question. We noticed there were 2 flags thrown on the same play. Was there another penalty called on that play as well? To which Allen said, the official, yes, because number 70 reported as eligible, and he was covered up on the line of scrimmage. That makes it an illegal formation. So number 70 is in an illegal position because he is covered up by rule, and number 68 catches a pass, which is also illegal. That's interesting because if you watch the broadcast, ESPN had their rules official, and he said there was basically like 3 penalties on the play, and it didn't even matter that 68 or 70 reported because number 68 was covered at the line of scrimmage. This, I will be the first to admit, this, like all this with the ineligible receiver has always been one of the most like confusing things for me personally as a football fan.
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain that to like a common football fan? I have no idea how you explain
it. It's definitely, and it's been called, I feel like, a lot more this season for whatever reason. But usually, I mean, time and time again, we've seen it this season in these really big, important games between 2 like monster teams. At the end of the games, there will always be more of refs erring on the side of, being very like flag happy because, they don't want to mess it up. But a lot of the times they will mess it up by throwing a flag.
Right.
And usually the controversy comes on like pass interference on deep passes, but this was just severely mishandled. And as obviously officiating is harder than we all think it is, but this is the time when they really need to tighten up. Luckily for the ref, this game didn't playoffs, not because both of these teams are in playoffs, but it needs to be.
Yeah, I think it definitely is tougher. We watch everything 3 or 4 times, right? Any questionable call is like replayed 3 times on the broadcast. We can rewind it if we want. We play it in slow motion, like to 1/10 of the speed, and everything looks so obvious to us. we're obviously not on the field. We have no idea what 6'8" said to the official. We don't know why 70 was running up to the official. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that Dan Campbell said in a post-game press conference that he explained the play to the official before the game. And that the foresight of that is insane. I don't know why you would do that unless you do that like almost every single game and say, if we go for it, if we're in a position where we have to go for 2, this is what we're going to do. This is our play that we practiced during the week, right? Now, remember, Mike McCarthy called a timeout on there were like 4 times they lined up for this 2-point conversion. The first time, which is what very common coaches do all the time, in a huge play, a coach will stand next to the official and wait for like right when the quarterback is about to snap the ball, call a timeout. So at least you can see the first couple seconds of the play develop. And, the official will run in waving his arms, blowing the whistle, like timeout, Dallas, whatever. That actually happened. So that was not that play call, that with this controversial play call, was not the first play that was called when Mike McCarthy called that timeout. If you rewatch the film, that was not the same play. That was a different play call. So I don't know why. I don't know if Dan Campbell just goes through every play with the refs before the game. I have no idea what he does, but it was a little weird. This whole situation was just a little sus.
Yeah, like, I mean, the last thing I'll say about all this is that, why you have the PAT, because like you can make these tough decisions about whether or not you're going to go for it. But at the end of the day, there was 23 seconds left in the game. By the time that you kick it off again, just go for the safe thing and just go for the extra point because you don't have another chance if you don't get it. So this is why anything could happen if you go for 2. So like if you don't get it, you don't
3
have
times in a row.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that saying? Fuck around and find out. Well, they just fucked around 3 times and found out 3 different times. So this is also pretty new. I'm just seeing what's going on X. Like, there's another video that came out. So the Cowboys have a pretty popular or like famous crew that does the radio programs, and they're extremely entertaining. They're great. So it came out that on their audio, which is interesting, the radio broadcast audio, you can hear the official say number 70 is reported as eligible. You couldn't hear that on the TV, but you can hear it on the radio broadcast. So, I mean, what do you do if you're the Cowboys defense? You defend the play. If the official comes over and talks to you and says number 70 is eligible, and he says it to the entire crowd, everybody in the building knows that number 70 is eligible. You may think as a defender, maybe I should guard number 70, right? Like, maybe why would I guard 68 if he's not eligible, right? So we're assuming that like they would have scored on that play, but the Cowboys, I mean, somebody said it on X, like the Cowboys are defending it how they were supposed to. They were guarding number 70, right? They didn't guard number 68 because he wasn't eligible. That's another thing that could have led to why he was so open.
Sure.
I don't know. I've been on the other end of this as a Cowboys fan. I don't feel bad. Let's go. W. This must be how Warriors fans and Lakers fans feel all the time. This is great. I love it. I love being on this side of it. A good play, a good controversial call. I lived through the Des Bryant catch and the Packers and all that. I've been on the other end of it, man.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much all I have to say about that controversial game. We have a good slate of games lined up week 17 here. If we want to get into it a little bit, we have Dolphins and Ravens at noon starting here in about 30 minutes. 11-4 against a 12-3 teams. They're playing at Baltimore.
With it being news, I didn't even process that it was Sunday today. It's kind of crazy.
I know. Okay. Yesterday it felt like Monday because Monday Night Football. But you have 49ers, Commanders. I think, the Texans and Titans. That may be a big game for a lot of our listeners. The Texans, are they locked in now to the playoffs, or are they still fighting for a chance at the playoffs? I have to look that up.
We have the Ravens and Dolphins, like you said, which I'm extremely excited to watch, just because that is going to be a high power of two great offenses.
Yeah, it is.
Other games that I'd kind of like to see and make sure I make a point to watch. Oh, I don't know. Actually, Chiefs and Bengals for sure is going to be an interesting one. But
Chiefs, Bengals,
other than that, it looks pretty weak to me. I don't know.
It does, unless you're in the maybe this is why. So you play fantasy? You're in the playoffs, obviously, right now. Did you make it? Is this a championship week for y'all? For your league?
Sorry, what was that? What did you say?
Are your fantasy team? Is it like the championship week for y'all? I'm assuming it is for everybody. But
yeah, it is. It's the championship.
Did you make it, big boy? Be honest with me. Did you make it in the championship game?
I did not. I made the first round
of playoffs. Rip. Well, anyway, your boy here made it into the championship game somehow. I'm playing the one guy in our league that is always projected like 155 to 158 points a game. He's projected that before the week even starts. He's like that one guy, right? We matched up in week 1. I lost to him by like 0.3 points, which is how the first game of every season goes. I always play this guy first, and it's always decided by like a point or two, which is crazy. I had Sam Laporta. Thank God he found his stride at the end. I also had Breece Hall. Big shout out to Breece Hall, too. He also gets a game ball, a Waterboys game ball. He had about 27 points, balled out on the Jets, Thursday Night Football. I have the San Francisco 49ers. I guess my point is what I'm saying. If you're a fantasy football guy and if you're probably in the championship game or maybe runner-up for third, this is a big week for you. This is a huge week.
Absolutely.
So I'll be watching the 49ers Commanders game. That's respectable. Dude, okay, so I have the Bills. So we play with head coaches instead of kickers, which is a little different. If your head coach, if the team of your head coach wins, you get 5 points. If they lose, you get -5 points. So there's also a strat that you just don't even play the head coach some weeks, and you're just neutral. I decided to play mine. Buffalo Bills, they're up against the Patriots. You would think that they would win, but they also lost in week 1 to the Jets without Aaron Rodgers. So it's a real toss-up for me.
I don't know if I'm.
Yeah, you're right. If you're the Patriots, you should lose. Now, they also have Bill Belichick, and I don't think that guy has ever – you could tell that guy to lose, but he's not going to lose. I mean, he's going to play like he wants to win, you know. Buccaneers, which is looking like it's going to be the first week matchup against the Cowboys in the playoffs, potentially. Play the Saints. You have a depressing game, Panthers, Jaguars at Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is just a shell of a man at this point. He's going to be a cyborg by the time he's done in the league, I think. Like, he's got like a shoulder injury now. He had like this thing with his ankle. He had like concussions multiple weeks. They just need to sit the guy out.
Though, because they're supposed to hit.
Yeah, they are.
So this will be an easy but win for them.
But yeah, you may be right. Actually, this is actually not. I mean, they're not great matchups, but they do have some playoff implications here.
Sure.
Some big ones, especially in the AFC. That's pretty much it. Before we get off of the topic of football, if there's anything else you want to add about the NFL.
Nope,
if there's
nothing.
Anything. Other than that, if we want to, before we get off the topic, talk about the college football playoffs, the 2 games we have coming up here pretty soon. Obviously, I didn't register that this is the new year for me either.
I'll be tuned in tomorrow watching Washington and Texas.
Score predictions? You want to piss off all of our UT listeners?
Washington all the way.
Led by who?
Led
Who's your
by
quarterback this season?
Penis Jr.
There it is. I can't, dude. He's gonna be flying into the Virgin Islands when you're flying out, and he's gonna see you in the airport, and he's gonna kick your ass. I can't wait to see that. For calling him Michael Penis Jr. But hey, to your point, man, you're picking him.
Yep, that's my point. I'm picking him to lead his team all the way.
And then prediction: Alabama, Michigan.
Michigan.
Really?
Michigan.
Why? I mean, it's a good choice, but like, I don't know. I can't like.
I've never been high on Alabama, and I won't continue. I'll continue to not be high on Alabama.
I just can't. I can't bet against Nick Saban in the playoffs. I just can't do it. I'm going Bama.
Then don't.
No, yeah, I'm going Bama. I think it's gonna be Bama and Washington in the final, which is weird because it kind of seems like Bama Michigan is the actual finals game, but to me it seems like the winner of that game should win the whole thing. But
yeah,
hey man, you never know. Injuries happen. There's all it takes is one guy to ball out. One unsung hero. So we'll be looking forward to that. All right. Let's get into basketball.
So big thing going on right now. OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors finally traded away. He has been one of the most coveted trade targets on the market for the past 2 or 3 seasons. Just because of his versatility and his ability to be an efficient 3-and-D, being one of the best perimeters in the league. It's OG, Precious Achiuwa, and Malachi Flynn being traded from the Toronto Raptors to the New York Knicks for RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley, and a second-round draft pick consideration. I'll talk a little bit about the Knicks here, their side of the story. On face, a lot of people thought on Twitter, kind of like this was an unfair trade because the Knicks gave up, but it kind of makes sense at the end of the day when you think about it, because the good for them is that they get one of the best perimeter defenders in the league for their closing lineups, where they've struggled to kind of close out some games because Julius Randle might shoot them out of a lot of games, and so they need the defense to get the stops to be able to go get out on transition and get good possessions on closing out minutes of the game. Currently, OG Anunoby is averaging 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 37% shooting, 3-point shooting, which is pretty efficient. Precious Achiuwa is also kind of high energy type of rim running type, small ball center. He could have some untapped potential, but obviously OG is the main piece there. The bad is that they gave up a lot. Like I said, it kind of makes sense though when you're looking at the guys you gave up. RJ Barrett, he's kind of like a fringe 20-point per game scorer, but also he hasn't really found his place as one of the stars on this team. I don't think he was able to be the third guy on this team. And also the big loss was Emmanuel Quickley, who was emerging as, he was in this heavily in the 6th man of the year conversations last year, emerging as a really great young guard. But with him being undersized and you have Jalen Brunson at 6 foot at the it doesn't really make sense to play them next to each other, especially starting closing games long term, because their defense there isn't good. And what you need is defense if you're the Knicks. Raptors side, you got a solid return out of him as a trade asset. So building supporting pieces around Scotty Barnes, who's a great young cornerstone of your franchise there. And then you have RJ Barrett back in Canada. So that may be good for his morale. Maybe you're able to get the most out of those, albeit points. Them is they made a better return for OG's value this time. This time last year, he was worth about 3 first-round picks, and they rejected those offers last year. They weren't ready to go the full rebuild route. I guess they're still not ready to do that because they kind of gotten more of supporting pieces as opposed to draft capital, which is what you were expecting originally for OG Anunoby. Lastly, my final thoughts about this trade is I would be very, very surprised if this is the last move before the deadline for both of these teams. I like the trade here. I like them this trade for both teams, but it can't be your final move, is what I'm saying. In order for this to be a good trade, Julius Randle obviously being a big question mark for the Knicks. He's their secondary scorer right now, and he's averaging 23 points per game. However, he is also averaging 28% from three, 5 attempted threes per game, which is simply not the type of thing that you want coming from your second option, as you want him to be a more reliable scorer, especially from the perimeter. And like I said, he's shot that a game, so he's taking a lot of those bad shots, contested shots, and he's a very streaky guy. So someone like him is someone that you can maximize his value as kind of an all-star type of guy while you can, because to get a real second star surrounding Jalen Brunson, because you already have some on the wings. You have OG Anunoby now, and you have Josh Hart, very good defenders, rebounders, and shooters. So you're going to want to maximize as much as you can surrounding that value for Jalen Brunson, his supporting cast. For the Raptors, Pascal Siakam is the guy that you got to keep your eye on. He's the washer-dryer spin cycle. Still a very good trade piece for the Raptors because, he is a championship winner. He's a veteran that is still playing at a very high level, but he's not really fitting as the stars for the Raptors now. And so with the Raptors in kind of a pseudo rebuild, you're kind of going to want to see him get moved to get another guy to surround Scotty Barnes with. That's my whole monologue about the trade. I think it was a good trade, but it can't be the last move.
So what's going on? So what happened? There was a controversial thing. And personally, I have to just admit that basketball is, to me, football is until football season ends, I'm going to be so immersed in football. But I did hear something about the Lakers-Wolves game. What happened there?
Yes. So that was that crazy thing last night. So basically what happened is they were playing the Wolves, who are at the top of the West right now. And they're having a very great game, a very close game. LeBron, as he does, basically they were down 107-100 with 35 seconds left-ish. LeBron for the 2-for-1 with about 35 seconds left. He gets an and one. The Timberwolves are also called for a technical on that play. So they get another free throw. Austin Reeves shoots it, sinks it. LeBron sinks his free throw. They're now down 107-104. And so the Timberwolves go down the court. They miss a three-pointer. I believe it was from Mike Conley. And they get the rebound, immediately outlet pass up to LeBron, who is wide open in the open court. He pulls up. He steps back and pulls up for a three. Okay? They're down by 3 points. He sinks it. They clip on the court a 2-pointer. And everybody is okay, well, review it. They're saying review it. They review it. The call stands as a 2-pointer, but LeBron and AD immediately go into a hyper frenzy because they are pointing at the screen. They have it right on. Looks very, very, very much like his foot's behind the line. And so
it's not in the script.
Honestly,
it's not the narrative. Lakers weren't supposed to win.
It's not in the script, but I have the picture. So give me just one moment here. I have the picture. I'll pull it up.
One thing I do know, until you pull it up, about is obviously Wemby Watch. That's our little segment that we do about Wemby. There's not been much to talk about because the Spurs have won an entire 6 games. But Wemby did put on just an absolute performance against Portland. At Portland, he went 30 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 blocks. The guy had 7 blocks. The NBA says that's a second rookie in NBA history to record 30-plus points, 5-plus rebounds, 5-plus assists, and 7-plus blocks in a game since who? David Robinson. another Spurs big man. That was
What did you say,
awesome.
David Robinson?
Then he set out, yeah, in 1990.
Oh.
Yeah. Dude, that's a 2. That is a 2. From what I can see, his foot's on the line.
Hold on.
Actually, I don't know. You maybe. What do you take this with a toaster? It's like a 3 megapixel.
This is from like the ref screen. They like got it from Twitter or from ESPN.
You might be right here. I guess it is behind the line. That's like a Sean Elliott Memorial Day miracle when he was on his tippy toes and his heels were outside.
You see that? There's like a little
the
bit
line.
in between.
Yeah, it's like above the line. Yeah, I see. That's close though, dude.
LeBron and AD are going crazy
on
this play because they're like, look at it, it's right in front of you.
Of course.
And the refs kind of just, they're giving their whole like little ref speech about it. And so
that's close, man. That's nuts. That's crazy. I mean, yeah, I definitely see a little of the court. I think it looks like his toes were over, like his toes were past the line, but they weren't touching the line, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so I don't know, controversy there, and as a Lakers fan, it's only just one game. I could really care less at the end of the day, but it is crazy how that they even reviewed it, and everybody was pretty convinced that it was. But again, at the end of the day, officiating, is a hard job.
Yeah.
And then the other exciting thing is we have All-Star Weekend voting coming up now. So what I want to do here is I put the link in our little I want us to vote for our All-Star starters.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Obviously, Wemby's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for me. Let's see.
Okay.
You want to pull yours up? Did you already do it?
Yeah. Mine might change, so I'm going to do it again because I things have changed. I did it on like the first day. I was a little sweat, but.
Yeah, you are a little sweat. Cranking 90s on here. Do you want to show your screen though on the the stream to our viewers? Oh man, dude, just looking at these players, it's like, damn, Team USA would be absolutely stacked if everybody played. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So here you go here first, and you can kind of call out what you would want. We have 2 guard positions that we're voting for. For me personally, I'm
starting with the
Shea
West.
Up in the, in the West. I'm gonna put Shea in there, averaging 31 points per game, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. On
share your screen.
Well,
I can't see it. I can't see it.
Oh,
there you go.
There we go.
Okay, so we're starting at the point guard, right? This is the point guard position.
Yeah. Well, this is the guard position in general.
Dude, you're okay. Who did you want?
I'm putting Shea in there.
Okay.
Originally, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Originally, I had Anthony Edwards and Shea, just because Anthony Edwards is the best player on the best team in the West. But there's conversation. What's that?
You're not gonna put Luka up there as a guard?
What did you say? Sorry.
You're not gonna put Luka as a guard?
Hello?
Yes. Well, anyway, I'll keep going. Yeah, you're on that Starlink Virgin Islands Wi-Fi right now. I'm gonna put Luka at the top. I'm definitely putting Luka at the top.
Can you hear me? My Wi-Fi was.
I know. Oh, I know.
What are you saying?
You're not gonna put Luka at the top as a guard?
So I originally put Anthony Edwards because he's the top player on the best team in the West.
Okay.
But obviously,
I'm gonna
Luka,
vote Luka.
obviously, at the end of the day, I'm okay with him because, he deserves it. So that's Luka and Shea for our Water Boys backcourt.
Yep.
And then we have, I think these to me are no-brainers.
Now, you know
Joker
what?
and LeBron.
Actually, I'm gonna go Luka, and I'm gonna go Josh Giddey. He's on here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. Oh, De'Aaron Fox. I'm going with De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, okay. Frankie goes De'Aaron Fox and
Maybe a
Luka.
little
I go
controversy.
Shea and Luka.
Okay.
Yeah. Now we have the front court down in the West. I'm going
Yep.
Joker and LeBron
Of course.
to start out
Yeah.
with.
Yeah,
For me personally, okay, it would be Anthony Davis.
over LeBron?
I assume no, both of them.
Oh, okay. Okay. No, you got to put Jokic
Because
in there.
KD, the Suns are the Sun 3. You get 3.
Right. Oh, so you're putting LeBron and oh wow, you are a lisexual, dude. You're Mr. Little Lakers boy. You're putting the whole Lakers front court in here, basically. I'm putting the Joker. I'll put LeBron, and I'm gonna pass on
the Suns are under,
KD.
mind you.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass on KD actually, which is weird. I never thought I'd say that. Oh, baby. Where's Wemby?
Cal, your boy.
Why is Wemby listed? He's like not even on here.
What?
I'm trying to look for Wemby. What is he listed as?
He's in the front court. He's 19 points per game.
Oh, there
10
he is.
rebounds.
God dang, I had to search for him. I'm gonna vote
3
Wemby. So I have.
Okay,
let's see. All right. So my West team. Good lord, Luka, De'Aaron Fox, Jokic, LeBron, and as a Spurs fan, I gotta put Wemby at there. Dude, that team is winning 82 games. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. Just let me live in my little world. Wemby is going to lead that team to 82 games. De'Aaron Fox is the only one that may be a little iffy here, but I like my team. Who do you have?
So I have Shea, Luka, Jokic, LeBron, and AD.
I think AD is a questionable one here. I agree with everything except AD. I don't know.
Averaging, it was.
He's just so hit or miss.
It was 25 points, 3 assists, 12. To me, it's just like either him or Cade because I'm not putting Wemby just because I'm not.
That's fair. If I wasn't a Spurs fan, I probably would have put KD maybe.
They're also below 500, and I'm different, like how you were different, and I'm taking Luka out because I don't like Luka.
Really? Okay.
I'm going Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. That's okay.
Best player on the top team in the West. Lock it in.
Who do you think is winning between our two teams? I've got.
So you had Luka.
I have Luka, De'Aaron Fox, Jokic, LeBron, and Wemby.
I think I'm winning, bro. Anthony Davis.
Yeah, you might. You might, but I can't not pick Wemby. That's just a thing. I'm sorry, I can't not pick him.
Yeah, obviously, I don't blame you.
If I had 5 Wembys, I would pick them. All right, let's go out east.
Going out east, we have the backcourt choices. You get 2 choices.
Bro, just looking at these players, you kind of see how lopsided. Is the West just like way more lopsided than the East right now, or what?
Yeah, but like it's kind of always been that way.
Yeah, I know. I don't want any of these guys though. Just give me another West team.
Yeah, honestly, West versus West, lock it in.
Yep.
Me personally, I'm
Donovan Mitchell.
I'm going Donovan.
Yeah,
and then I'm going
Tyrese Halliburton. I'm gonna go Dame. Okay.
You're gonna go Dame. I'm gonna go Tyrese Halliburton. This guy, Tyrese Halliburton, man, he's had, I think in the past 3-4 games, he's had 2 20 and 20 games.
How many?
20, like 20 and 20 games, 20
That's
points,
crazy.
20 assists.
That's
He's
nuts.
the youngest to do it since Steve Nash, I believe.
Oh, that boy, Steve Nash. Gave me chills just hearing his name. Okay. Well, this one's gonna be easy. I'm going Embiid. I'm going Giannis, and maybe the third one's not easy. I'm gonna go Porzingis.
Yeah, it is.
You think so? I'm gonna go Porzingis. I'm gonna go the unicorn.
Okay, Frankie's going
Or maybe
Porzingis.
Jason Tatum. No, I'm gonna go
Jason
Porzingis. That boy. I want to see. I want to see him have a comeback.
Porzingis is only the third best person
Porzingis
on
the
his own.
dingus. I know, but this isn't Team USA. This is just the All-Star game. This is who I want to see play. Yes,
fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay, but Embiid and Giannis, yeah, obviously those are locks. We have three of the same players here.
Yeah, we do.
The only difference is I have Dame and you have, who do you have? The little screen is blocking it. Tyrese Halliburton. Porzingis is going to make me okay, so I have to have a good matchup against Wemby, obviously. He's still learning. He's just a boy. He's just a wee little lad.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see him go against Porzingis. Review and submit, baby. That's my lock.
That's our Water Boys lineups there. But yeah, okay. So
oh man, Porzingis, don't prove me wrong, man. I just like his comeback story.
Yeah, I mean,
he was irrelevant for so long.
I think he'll be a reserve for sure. But
he was like what hyped up, not hyped up like Wemby, but he was hyped up for sure when he got into the league, and then he just kind of like fell off. And now he's kind of coming back, right? Like he's kind of making a comeback a little bit.
Yeah.
So just a wee bit.
Just a wee bit.
Well, there you have it. Just a quick little preview of the NBA. Well, not preview, but just a little status check of the NBA and preview of Week 17 slate in the NFL, as well as a tiny little preview for the 2 college football playoff games. I think everybody, like we've already talked about those games at length. We don't check out our other episodes if you want to hear about more in depth on that. We didn't go too much into it. I think the NFL is way more interesting right now. The NCAA is ruining, like I said, the most sacred thing in like the whole country, college football. They're just ruining it. And now it's like, I don't even want to be a college football fan anymore. It's stupid. Like it sucks. Like you want my opinion, I will speak with my viewership. I want to watch the NFL way more than I want to watch college football right now. I think the fact that all this money is like, all the money is just kind of ruining, like the players getting all this money. It's not what college football is. They used to play to prove themselves, and now they play in transfer schools almost as much as KD transferred teams, like just to chase the money, you know? I don't like that at all. It sucks. I think the conferences should probably go away. I really like that thing we saw on Twitter, on X, with the tiers separated in regions. That would be awesome. I think all the Power 5 schools that have been Power 5 schools, and some people probably wonder why they're Power 5, you should prove yourself. You know, you can't just sit in an ivory tower. Like you have to win. You should prove that you're like why you're in Power 5. And I know a lot of teams do, but there's a lot of those teams that it's like, how did you make it? Vanderbilt, how did you make it in the SEC? You know, stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's kind of losing its fun. But I'm excited for the NFL probably more than this college football playoff. And for me, that's a first in the last 4 years or so. Way more excited for these NFL games these last couple weeks and then the playoffs. So,
yep. But yeah, so that was Believe It,
first episode
10.
back. Yep. Thank you for allowing us.
10.
Thank you for allowing us to take some PTO to all of our viewers out there. We'll be back With that being said, we hope everyone has an awesome, happy New Year, safe, celebrate it. I'm gonna try to stay up past midnight. Maybe I'll pop some fireworks. I don't know. Maybe not.
Gotta pop some champagne for sure.
Pop some champagne. Yeah, I could see that.
We'll be
that's all I
back.
have.
It will be a Waterboys 2024 dominance that you're going to see before you.
It will be.
And make sure you're following us on all the platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, everything, everywhere where you get your podcasts. Follow. Make sure to tune in to all of our insights, and we will be back. I'll be back on my home setup with the better quality audio, better quality internet, not this remote, isolated island internet.
You got the Metro PCS internet right now, or the Cricket internet. If there's anything our viewers want us to talk about as well, please DM us. Put it in our comments.
Let us know.
We're gonna be hitting this hard in 2024. Yep. Whatever you want. Slide in Kyle's DMs. Send him some dirty pictures. See ya. Peace. Happy New Year.